What is up, guys? Rick Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we're going to be taking the brand new Bad Juju Exotic Quest Pulse Rifle through the entirety of the Last Wish raid and ranking its performance on each encounter, because why the heck not? I'm not playing 2 Crucible games and throwing up a review. I'm dragging myself and 5 other poor souls through the largest raid in Destiny's history, so let's get started. But first, hey, you're looking to upgrade your headset? I'm partnered with ASTRO. Check the link in the description down below. Clicking it will automatically apply a discount, allowing you to save some money and help the channel out. Definition of a win-win. Okay, now let's start here by taking a look at the Bad Juju and its exotic perks. So, intrinsically, we have String of Curses. Kills refill the magazine, increase damage for a short duration, and grant super energy based on the strength of String of Curses, fires full auto. I also do have the exotic catalyst, which extends String of Curses. So basically, you get a kill, String of Curses activates, and you get a damage bonus for a duration, then it goes away. The exotic catalyst just makes it longer before it goes away. Additionally, similar to Swashbuckler, if you're killing fast enough, you can get String of Curses up to ×5 for the most damage, most super energy, regeneration, etc. So, how does the Bad Juju fare in the first encounter against Kalli? Well, against the normal adds when you're holding down the plate, it's phenomenal. This is a full auto pulse rifle with sustenance, basically, because you get the magazine back every time you get a kill, and also basically Swashbuckler without the melee thing, essentially Rampage that goes up to ×5. That would be an unbelievably good combo just on its own, but of course you have the super energy thrown in on top of that, so it decimates low-level adds. The problem is that you're not really going to use your super in that beginning portion, you're going to save it for the boss DPS. And how is this for boss DPS? Well, I mean, it is a full auto pulse rifle, and as you can see, it's not great. This gun just doesn't output enough damage, but that's somewhat to be expected. It doesn't have anything to boost its own damage unless you're getting String of Curses, and this is a particular boss fight that doesn't really allow you to ramp up String of Curses before outputting damage. Now, you can actually activate String when you're coming out of the hidey holes, basically in between different phases of this phase, and you can kill some scions, and then right after that start shooting the boss, so you can get some bonus damage that way, but it doesn't last for that long, even with the exotic catalyst. So as you can see, one whole damage phase, so 3 hiding attempts, we were only able to get Kalli down to about half health. And therefore, I'm going to give the Bad Juju a 5 out of 10. It's just average. It's doing what other pulse rifles would do, because in this encounter, you're really not making the most of that super regeneration of that exotic perk. But it is time to move on to the next encounter, and that is against Shiro Chi. Now here, you definitely have some boss DPS, but you have a lot of ad killing in between those boss damage sessions. So, is it any better here? Well, we tried to get Shiro Chi to her damage threshold, so take away 1/6 of her health with just the Bad Juju and a melting point. And as you can see, we almost did it. We were very close. Maybe if we had, an empowered melee or something like that, we would have reached that threshold. But alas, again, this is a normal pulse rifle for DPS. So what we decided to do is to use other weapons, like I'm just using Escalation Shotgun to DPS Shuro Chi, but to still utilize the Bad Juju and make the most of its super recharge. It's not that unreasonable to use this weapon in a realistic raid scenario just to decimate adds, because again, it's phenomenal at that. Like you can see in the background gameplay, just cut through scion after scion. And then once you get String of Curses ×5, you can turn on the Knights and kill them extremely quickly, so it's great for that. And importantly, you're getting your super back between every single encounter. So if you're someone like myself who's putting down a Well of Radiance, having that every single time guaranteed is phenomenal. And also, it'll help you with damage output. If you're a hunter running Celestial Golden Gun, I mean, again, having it every single damage phase thanks to the bad Juju's regeneration is a legitimate strategy. And overall, I think that strategy kind of worked. I mean, there was only one damage phase where I didn't have my well, I was very, very close, and I didn't spend really any time scrounging for orbs. So this thing legitimately did help keep my super up so much more, and it was totally serviceable, in fact, really, really good at taking down the ads, and it's no problem taking down Shiro Chi with shotguns. So it's not like you need to have your exotic slot on a different weapon. So overall, I've got to give the bad Juju a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it's good enough damage-wise to get 8, 9, 10, but in other factors, it was very useful. Now, moving on from there, we have the next encounter against Swell Growth. This is one big damage phase, somewhat similar to Kalli. Can the bad Juju perform well here? Well, let's take a look. Now, first and foremost, you are going to see me do something I don't think I've ever done in a raid versus video, and that's use my super in this encounter before the damage phase. Seriously, every single time, especially when I'm playing Warlock, I'm saving my super. I'm just saving the well for the damage phase. But because of the bad Juju, I actually use it twice and then still get it back for the actual damage phase. And that's undoubtedly useful to get your utility out of your super and still have it for the damage phase. So that's definitely a point in the bad Juju's favor. And as always, phenomenal against the ads. But moving on to the actual damage phase, and we tried to stay true. We just used the bad Juju, and as you can see, it wasn't good enough. Yeah, it just does not output enough damage. We weren't able to take Swell Growth down. Honestly, we are about like half his health. It's somewhat surprising for just kind of an average pulse rifle, to be honest, like half killing a raid boss just using a primary, but, you know, wasn't substantial enough. So, switched to Swarming the Ravens and killed him basically instantly the next time. And so, in this encounter, although it is really useful in that beginning section, it is all about that damage phase here, and so I can't give it above a 6 out of 10. It's above average for sure, but not top tier. And moving on from there, we have the Vault encounter. Here, this is kind of where the bad Juju may come into its own. We don't have a boss DPS phase, we just have killing ads. Although there are some more powerful ads, especially with the knights. How does the bad Juju fare here? Well, as you would probably expect, phenomenal against those ads. Like, just decimates most of those ads. Now, when it does come to the more powerful ads, although you can see we all like team shot one of the knights down here with bad Juju, for the most part, you're going to want to switch to your other weapon. But the increased amount of super regeneration from the bad Juju is actually very, very useful. Like, you're going to see in the background gameplay, I throw down my well and I'm able to double Swarm in the Raven. One of the knights turn around, I have a knight near my plate, and I just use my escalation shotgun. I have Lunafaction boots on, and I kill that knight almost instantly. Now, in a lot of scenarios, if I wasn't using the bad Juju, I wouldn't have my well. I wouldn't be putting down my well as much. So I probably would have still killed him with the escalation shotgun, but certainly wouldn't be as fast as a well with Lunafaction escalation shotgun. So the fact that you can use your super so much more, and your super is great against the knights, against the ads in this encounter, the bad Juju is actually just really, really useful here. So you basically get one of the best PvE pulse rifles in the entire game. Again, full auto, sustenance, rampage, and or swashbuckler all on the same gun. That's unreal. And you also get super regeneration, so much more, so you get the utility of your supers, and there's more than enough legendary weapons that can make up for the gun's downfalls in killing the knights. So I've got to give it a 9 out of 10. It can't get that perfect score because it itself is pretty trash against the knights, but its utility is unreal here, and it's actually something that you could legitimately use if you're trying to do this raid, and you would enjoy it and do super well with it. So yeah, it's very good in the vault. But it is time to move on to the final, well, the main final encounter of Last Wish, and that is Riven. So, how was the bad Juju against Riven? Well, we gave it the good old college try. We all put on bad Juju, and if we're testing DPS, if we're going for it, we going for the cheese. And we didn't have high hopes for this, but we do it for the memes, we do it for the dreams. Let's get started. Against Riven, all bad Jujus, using using as much Riven's Bane gear as we could. As you can see, it's trash. This thing just does not output anywhere near enough damage, and looking at the damage numbers, you can see that we achieved really only 500,000 damage as our upper echelon, and that's just not good enough. I mean, other primaries, specifically I'm thinking of the Cerberus +1, is capable of doing 1,000,000 damage against Riven, so the bad Juju just is not good enough. And therefore, it only gets a 4 out of 10. But again, that's to be expected, but I was curious to see how much damage it would actually output. In any event, we threw on Raven, killed her in no time, and then we move on to the final encounter, and that is the Queen's Rock, running the heart of Riven. Now, here, it's really interesting. Like I always say in this part, well, it's mostly about chaining supers. We've got a gun that specifically lets you use your super more often. So this, although it's not that powerful outputting damage, this may come into its own. And it somewhat does. I mean, I was teleported in rather early, but there's still a crap ton of enemies to kill in this section. There are so many Scions, and being able to just gun those guys down incredibly fast, incredibly easily, and then use your super whenever one of the knights shows up, that's exactly what you want to be doing. And in the other section, the people that were using it there were saying, look, it's still a pretty darn accurate, good pulse rifle. We're having no problem killing all of the phalanxes and the taken enemies we find along the route with it. So Queen's Walk, somewhat similar to Vault, you have a surprising amount of utility coming out of this weapon, and therefore it's actually pretty good. And I'm going to give it here an 8 out of 10. It actually has a lot of utility, especially if you do get, like me, teleported in early and you're just massacring Scions. This is the gun to do it with. Alright, so looking at the entirety of its performance, it really kind of sucked when it was boss DPS focused encounters, and then it excelled when it was just killing ads focused encounters. And therefore I think it equals out to a 6.5 out of 10, above average for sure, but not in that upper echelon. And so guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.